Guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Today we're going to talk about 5 big mistakes that I have actually made inside this game, hopefully preventing you guys from making the same mistakes. Now, there's a million YouTube videos out there. I have made some as well, just telling you super obvious stuff like, make sure you collect your quests or save your rewards or, don't use legendary champions as food, right? I mean, you guys know that stuff by this point, right? Especially if you've been watching for any sort of time. If you guys don't know that stuff, that's totally cool too. It probably means you're a newer player, and there's a lot of other videos out there. This is going to be a little bit more, I guess, mid-game oriented, this video. We're also going to not talk about, the obvious artifact mistakes, like upgrading or maxing out gear to level 16 that is a flat stat, right? Hopefully you guys already know that, but if you don't, hey, no worries at all. I'm not trying to say, oh, shame on you. I have an artifact, top 10 artifact mistakes video that I've already made that I will link for you guys in the description. Same thing with Great Hall. We've talked a lot about Great Hall, and I have a Great Hall guide out there. So again, long story short, you want to prioritize crit damage, accuracy, and defense, and then kind of work on the others, getting them to at least level 4, okay? So let's go ahead and jump into my mistakes, okay? And some of these are a little bit more nuanced, but again, these are things that I've learned that I hope that you guys can learn from as well. And number 1 is going to be masteries, right? And we talk about this, I mentioned this a few times before, but it's so true, right? When you're building out masteries, and this is not just lip service, this is the truth, guys, okay? When you're building out masteries for a champion, you should not blindly copy a YouTuber or a website. You just really shouldn't, right? Because masteries depend on a lot of things. Where you're using this champion, what the team around this champion looks like. Is it a speed tune team in Clan Boss? If that's the case, well, let's just go ahead and take a look here. So if you have like a speed tune Clan Boss team, guys, you don't want to use any of these turn meter boosters on masteries, rapid response or arcane celerity or spirit haste as well, right? There's a lot of them, guys. You don't want to mess up your speed of your team. Intuitively, it seems like these are great abilities and they are great masteries, but not for a speed tuned team. And the same thing goes with Arena. Some abilities in the offense tree, like flawless execution, might better suit the champion that you're using them on. Or sometimes in Arena, you might want Helm Smasher ability. You can see this is my Cold Heart right here, guys, and I talked about this in my Cold Heart video. I'm not using her in a way against like Clan Boss or against many bosses that I really want to use her Giant Slayer. I don't care about her Giant Slayer proccing as much as I care about her getting her full crit damage value. We saw on my last Cold Heart guide how much just 6% extra crit damage can make. It can make 100 to 300,000 extra damage off of her Heartseeker ability. So if I went and blindly copied somebody else's masteries, I would be missing out on that much damage on my Cold Heart. So really, when you're picking out masteries, do not blindly copy. Masteries are an important part of this game, guys, and it stacks, right? The value of mastery stacks because you have 4 or 5 champions on your team. If they all have their masteries screwed up, well, that's 5 mistakes on 5 champions amplified on your entire team. So really masteries are hard to get. They either cost 800 gems or a few hours or more of grinding in Miniatures Labyrinth, right? So what you want to do is just take your time. Take 10 minutes aside and actually read, okay, I can go with this or this. What I tend to do is pick out where I want to end first. That way I make sure I can actually get there, right? Because then you'd have to pay for the reset if you screw up. But just take your time. Think about how you're going to be using this champion, and you can do it. You can do it. Trust me. Even if haven't been playing this game for a year, you can just, logically reason what mastery makes the most sense on these champions. So that's my first tip. I'm not afraid to admit it. I just blindly copied masteries for a while. The first few months I was playing, I was like, okay, website, okay, YouTube video, whatever they click, I'm gonna click. That's really not how you should do it. So mistake number 2, guys, was about Faction Wars. Now, I didn't even play Faction Wars at all in the beginning of this game. I knew it was a new feature, it was catered more towards end game players, and I was like, not for me. I have enough to do in this damn game anyway, right? But the fact of the matter is, I was wrong. You should, if you have the time, right? I know you guys don't eat and breathe and sleep Raid Shadow Legends. Neither do I, frankly, right? I try to get as much as I can done on a daily basis, but I'm not, I'm not holding myself, I'm not guilting myself if I don't get everything done, right? So in the faction wars, though, it's not just to play them early on, but the other mistake that I made in faction wars was I did not go both of these Orcs and Lizardmen are my two worst faction crypts, right? But check this out, guys. I didn't care about 3-starring early on, right? I just happened to have a few 3-stars here, but now now that I can actually, again, Orcs and Lizardmen are not great examples, but some of these faction crypts I've already cleared stage 21 on. And I have a bunch of stages that are just 1-starred. So I have to wait, whatever it is, 7 days or whatever, for the faction crypt to open up, and then I have a decision to make. Do I want to waste possibly getting a 6-star glyph, which are so valuable in this game, or do I want to go back and waste my keys to use to 3-star these earlier levels, stages, because the rewards here are actually really solid for faction crypts. So I would advise you guys right now, consider just going in. If you made the same mistake like I have, don't be where I am, where now you're close to the end of a lot of these faction crypts, and now you have to make the decision to go back and 3-star them. Get your stars early, especially on faction crypts that you haven't progressed that far on, right? So that is tip number 2. Tip number 3, or mistake number 3, was early on. I don't know why. Why didn't I know this? And maybe some of you guys don't know this as well. This is why I'm making this video, right? But early on, I did not have a defense down champion in all of my teams. Now, of course, I realize how incredibly fundamental that is to increase my speed, whether a campaign or any dungeon. Heck, most of the time, even in arena, but arena is a little bit more nuanced, okay? But every single one of my stage 20 teams has a Tyrell or a Stag Knight in it. And if you don't have those champions, it's cool. You should have War Maiden in there. You should have a defense down. Defense down is going to at least cut your time on the first 2 waves in half. It's so important to have. It doesn't feel that important intuitively as a new player, but here's my Fire Knight, stage 20. I have Stag Knight in there for the defense down. If I go to any single, even Spider's Den, stage 20 of Spider's Den here, 28 seconds. It doesn't matter. Whatever team I'm using, I'm going to have Stag Knight or Tyrell in there because I want that defense down. It speeds things up so dramatically. No matter and speed is everything in this game because that's where you're really going to optimize, your runs. That's how you're going to get more gear, and you're going to get gear much faster and keep your champions alive. It's not all about speed, right? I mean, I just said speed is everything, didn't I? Crap, and I'm not going to edit that out either. Speed is great in this game, but it's not everything, right? It keeps going fast throughout the trash waves is going to keep your team alive, right? It's going to keep your other champions alive because you're going to be killing them so much faster. If you have problems getting your DPS, your damage dealers through to the bosses, it might be because you don't have the defense down. Same thing goes for clan boss. You want a defense down and an attack down on your team. Even a weakened debuff would be great as well. So those debuffs are fundamental to every area of the game inside Raid Shadow Legends. The next mistake I made, guys, was building out a champion without taking into consideration the team that I was going to put them on, right? And it kind of like the masteries. I would just blindly build champions. I would pull up a website or a YouTube video and be like, okay, they have, what do they got here? They got attack priority, and then defense, and then whatever, right? And then crit rate, and then crit damage, and then accuracy. But it's not as simple. This game is not as simple as that, right? I mean, you need to consider what role this champion is playing on the specific team that you have them. Let me give you a couple examples. One example would be, let's say I am running, I don't know, let me just pick a random champion here. Let's say I am running, I want to pick a pretty fragile okay, Dark Elaine inside a dungeon, right? A lot of people would tell you, oh, you want to have some defense on Dark Elaine because you want to keep her alive. Having defense is important on these attack champions. And that is correct. But it's not always correct. There are no golden rules for gearing. That's why you should not blindly copy. You can see that I have an attack chest on Dark Elaine. Why did I go attack? Why didn't I go defense? I want her to stay alive, right? Well, no. Because the teams that I'm running her with, I have plenty of support. I have a shield. She's on a miscreated monster team with me. I have heals on that team. I don't need to put a defense or a HP chest on her. I have the luxury of putting an attack chest on her, right? And of course, everybody's different, and that's the point of this tip, right? I used to build my champions based on just what other people told me without saying, hey, you know what? I don't need that. I don't need to go defense. I can go attack. It doesn't matter because I have enough support on my team. I always stay alive and I'm good, right? Or maybe on some of my defense support-based champions, you know, I don't need any more defense. They're always the last to die anyway. They're good, you know, and maybe their damage is based on attack. Maybe I build them with a little bit of extra crit rate, a little bit extra crit damage, or maybe I add a little bit of attack on them. Most supports are either HP or defense, but you guys get the point, right? Show a little bit of flexibility on how you build a champion based on the team that's going to be surrounding them. I'll give you one more example. Krutraxa, where we started this, right? I have attack percentage boots on her. If you go to any website or YouTube video, most of them are going to advise you put speed boots on your Krutraxa. But I use her in Arena, and on my Arena team, she is the last to go, and that is by design. I don't need her to be the fastest on my team. I have a crowd control champion who's going to stun or put the other team to sleep. I have a speed booster on my team in Apothecary or Seeker or Lysandra, and I have a debuffer on my team. So Krutraxa is going to be the last to go anyway, and she's still going to go before the opponents because I have speed boosts and I have CC abilities. So I have the luxury of putting attack boots on her instead of speed boots on her. You guys should go through the same thought process whenever you're building a champion. What teams am I going to put this champion on? And then let that dictate what type of gear you're going to prioritize on that champion. There are still, you know, obviously things that you want to prioritize on every champion. If it's a debuffer, you want to put an accuracy on them, of course, right? If they're damage based on defense, of course you want to build them out with a lot of defense. But you have flexibility, especially in the main areas here, in your gauntlets, in your chest, in your boots, in your amulet, and on your banner, right? You have a lot of flexibility there. For example, I could go accuracy, but I like the extra 21% here and the extra 13 speed on my attack and speed on this HP banner. Probably not the best, probably not ideal, but you do the best you can with the gear that you have, and I just don't have a better piece of gear right now for Krutraxa. So again, guys, banner probably the bad example because it is just not a perfect situation here on my Krutraxa, but you guys get it, man. Build a champion for what you need them to do, considering the other champions you have. So the last tip is probably, to be fair, a pretty basic one, along the lines of Great Hall priorities, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and it's the missions, right? So, man, it's just probably one of the bigger mistakes I've made on my account, honestly, which is why I'm going to mention it to you guys, right? I'd be lying if I said this wasn't one of the biggest mistakes. As you can see, I am almost done with part 2 of the missions. I've been playing this game for a long time, right? I didn't do missions at all in the beginning. I was like, missions? Meh. Like, whatever, it's gonna take me forever to get Arbiter. I don't know why. I was just lazy. I just focused on other stuff in the game. I'm not saying you guys have to grind missions every day. You don't, right? Because missions can get very grindy. But you should try to, you know, once a week or so, try to bang through like 5, 10, whatever missions, right? I didn't do that for a long time. And now I have to go back and redo a million things that I've already done. Like beat, you know, stage 4-7 on normal or something, right? And it's just like, you know, I'm wasting my energy on something that's, you know, just for the mission, just so I can finally, eventually, hopefully get Arbiter, right? So don't make the mistake that I did, guys. Do your missions, and that way you don't have to go back like I do and have to just fuse these champions and equip, you know, 6 attack artifacts on an attack champion. It's just, it's kind of, if you're doing it while you're progressing just periodically through the game, it's cool. But if you wait until your end game to do it, it just becomes really like a super chore. So guys, those are 5 mistakes that I've actually made inside the game. I hope at least one of these mistakes kind of helped you guys kind of, you know, make decisions on your account going forward. Thank you so much for showing the support here on the channel. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy out there. Again, I always say this, but both physically and mentally out there. So guys, much love. Thank you for the support. Again, thank you for subscribing if you enjoy the content here on the channel. And as always, take care, guys.